The Yandere Simulator toothbrush is, or was, a good metaphor for all of the issues with the game industry.
That you, Peach? I see Toadsworth roped you into this too.
But a 5,500 polygon toothbrush that crashes the game when you look at it almost feels quaint now. With AI slop sprayed all over every corner of the internet and endless corporate greed running rampant, I think we need something significantly worse to capture this current moment that we're in. And in this video, I tried to make it.
Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it holds the power to create worlds.
Starting with the default cube, I roughed out an approximation of the handle of the brush. I left off the horrible topology of the original because I was determined to hit the high poly count with clean topology for reasons that will become apparent in a moment. With the handle done, I moved on to creating some individual bristles. I stuck them in a collection and set up a geometry node system to scatter them across the brush head. And just like that, I had my 5,500 face toothbrush. But that was just the beginning. Then it was time to start the real work. First, I made use of my geometry node setup. The way I designed the brush, the face the bristles are on is converted into a bunch of points in space, and copies of the bristles from the pre-made collection I set up are instanced onto those points. So the logical first step to making it worse was to increase the number of bristles. A lot. I connected the current frame input to a multiplier and then plugged that into my bristle density and hit play. At around 40 million polygons, my computer decided it had enough. Blender crashed and I had to go back to the drawing board. After thinking about it a bit, I decided to make the handle much denser first and then try the same trick with the bristles. I was gambling that one piece of highly subdivided geometry would be more stable than simply increasing the bristle count. It worked. Thanks to the clean handle topology I'd created earlier, I was able to get a super even subdivision across the entire surface of the handle, maximizing the number of faces I could make. With 2 subdivision surface modifiers added, totaling 7 levels of division, the handle hit 57 million faces on its own. Combined with the bristles, I hit 77 million faces. But I wasn't done. GTA 6 was delayed again, and this was becoming personal. Determined to bottle my rage into an object truly representative of the state of this industry, I moved on to much more extreme measures.
Cypher is pursuing new research. He claims that what they're doing in Africa is the missing piece. A weapon to surpass Metal Gear.
My next thought was, what if every single bristle also had dozens of copies of the toothbrush growing out of it? So I copied the entire toothbrush to its own collection and set about modifying my geometry node system. Ironically, if I showed my friend and certified geometry nodes expert Mike this, he would have told me I was being lazy by copying the entire brush over, and there were ways to do this in one geometry node system without taking any shortcuts. But Mike lives in the UK, so instead of waking him up, I let this process turn me into the corner-cutting devs I set out to destroy in the first place. I added a second set of points, scattering across the faces of the bristles themselves, and used those points to scatter a layer of miniature versions of the toothbrush across all of the bristles. It got me to a total of almost 90 million faces. But I still wasn't done. In a fever pitch, I recreated the system again, adding a third layer down. Now there were toothbrushes on my toothbrushes on the toothbrush. But when I zoomed all the way in, the bristles were missing from the deepest layer, and I couldn't figure out why. And on top of that, I wasn't even at 90 million. So I restructured the geometry node system again. I pulled out my original setup and converted all of the scattered brushes into their own set of points, grabbing yet a third brush collection and scattering that on the new points. I set it up, got the points together, plugged it in, and Blender crashed. I sat there in my dark room staring at a blank screen and wondering, is just shy of 90 million faces the limit? Everything I'd done up to that point hadn't gotten me past it, and every time I got close, Blender would go down in flames. So was this the end? Was it time for me to pack it in? I decided to flip a coin and let that determine my fate. If the coin came up heads, I was going to do the responsible thing, pack it in, and finish the video. But if the coin came up tails, I was going to see this thing through to the bitter end.
This is Spartan 117.
Anyone hear me? Over.
Isolate that signal. Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
This was my plan. I would build a Blender add-on that would automatically create and destroy geometry at will. I would use this to create new levels to my toothbrush as old levels were destroyed. But to do this, I would have to create 4 main components. First, a system of constraints used to determine when to create a new toothbrush and when to destroy one. Second, a function that could create a toothbrush out of thin air, name it, and place it where I wanted it. Third, a function that would destroy any toothbrush passed into it. And finally, a modal operator that would control the scale of the toothbrushes over time and coordinate the firing order of all of the functions over an infinite timescale. With that idea in mind, I got started building, starting with my constraints. The start scale variable would determine the size of the very first toothbrush I created. It was important to separate this because from this point on, I wanted the size to be proportional to the previously created brush. But that wouldn't work for the first one because any percentage of 0 is 0. So we needed an initialization point to get around that. The next variable is the depth scale, and the depth scale is the maximum size a given toothbrush can reach before the program culls it, making room for the next in the sequence. Then there was the proportion. The proportion input would determine the size of the next created toothbrush relative to the previous created toothbrush. And finally, the trigger scales. I created these so I could adjust the creation time for toothbrushes 2 and 3 based on the size of toothbrushes 1 and 2. This way, I could use the progression in the scale of each brush to set the firing order for the loop. But to actually do this, I had to make the means to create and destroy the toothbrushes themselves. This was somewhat more complex than the control variables, but still relatively simple. The create brush function I created works like this. When it's called, it creates a new empty. It gives that empty a defined display type. And then it links it into the scene. Finally, it sets the instancing type to collection and connects it to the toothbrush collection I have hidden in the scene, instancing its geometry to the empty. Opposite the create brush function, I made the destroy brush function. This takes a given brush object as an input, checks that it still exists in your blend file, and deletes it if it does. I had breezed through creating these functions when I ran into the modal like a brick wall. Modal operators have a variety of execution events. All this is to say that, essentially, there are various things you can use to trigger them. In my case, I opted to use a timer. Essentially, the modal has an internal clock running and uses intervals on that clock to fire. By doing this, I figured I could make the loop run continuously without having to use the timeline, since the timeline may have a very large number of frames, but it's not technically infinite. But my first 2 attempts just spawned hundreds of toothbrushes without doing any of the rest of the sequence. Eventually, after about 3 hours of tinkering, I realized I wasn't tracking the brushes properly through the sequence, and I reworked my code to fix it. Here's how it works. First, the modal is created along with its own timer. Then, the scale speed for the brushes is set using a combination of the timer and a scale speed input that I added to the add-on. Then, the first brush in the sequence is created using the start scale attribute we talked about earlier. After this, a list is created to track the brushes as they're created and destroyed, and the first brush is added to the list. The list is then used to scale the brushes according to the scale speed. As the brushes scale, they trigger the create and destroy functions. When a brush reaches the trigger scale, it fires the create brush function, creating the next brush in the sequence. When that brush reaches the depth scale, it's destroyed using the destroy brush function. For every brush after the first brush, the scale of the new brushes is now determined using the proportion attribute. This means that after the first brush, every subsequent brush is a proportion of the size of the previous brush before it. And this sequence continues indefinitely unless the program is interrupted with the escape key or Blender crashes. At least that's how it's supposed to work in theory. I wrapped it up, added a polygon counter, and gave the speed control an input on the user interface. And then, I pressed the start button. It worked. Infinite geometry at my fingertips. But I wasn't satisfied with the pace, so I stopped it, cranked up the speed, and started it again. And then it happened. I finally crossed 100 million faces. I had done it. And as I sat there in the glow of my monitor, watching the count climb into infinity, a thought popped into my head. I had inadvertently reinvented a primitive version of instance culling, a method used by game devs to make games more efficient